is Trish, and welcome to Teacher Therapy. Today we have a very special guest named Amax. He is in Dubai. He is a teacher. He is also a vlogger, and he has a YouTube channel, and he has all kinds of adventures in Dubai that he's going to tell us about. So let's start out first. I'd love for you to tell us how you got interested in becoming a teacher.
All right. So again, my name is Aurelius, aka Amos with Effects, and I'm about to here to tell you how all of it started. But let's just say my road or avenue to education is a little bit different, I think, compared to others. So I'll just tell you primarily, education was not my primary goal. It was actually media, journalism, emceeing on stages, you name it. But somehow, instead of me choosing education cleverly found a way to choose me. So I started off teaching and education when I was living in Taiwan at the time. Yeah, so I was doing my East Asian tour to Singapore, to Hong Kong, eventually went to Taiwan, and I started meeting a couple of DJs, a couple of MCs, and let's just say I actually tried to get myself into the radio business, which was ICRT in Taipei at the time. And let's just say a lot of the entertainers or the expats or the Westerners who live in Taiwan, a lot of them are teachers first, and then they do their the occupation that they always wanted to do as a secondary job. So I was like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. Maybe that's something I can do and get my foot in the door into the radio business later on while I'm living there. And let's just say one of them, one of the DJs I met, they said, hey, how about you also become a teacher? You're very entertaining and you seem very animated. So I think you might be great as a teacher. I'm like, oh, okay, why not? I'll try it out. And at the time, living in Eastern Asia, it was a lot easier for Americans or Brits, or if English is your primary language, it was easy for you to get a job as a teacher. I don't know how it is now, but around 5 or 6 years ago, it was a little bit easier. So I was interviewed by a school called S, and they asked me a couple of questions, and I answered them to their liking, and they invited me to Taipei, and they trained me as an educational teacher, and that's where my whole background of education started. So a whole story, with whole Wikipedia right there.
So did you have to go to a university, like a four-year college, or do they have a different onboarding training process?
No. So again, if you're American, if you're British, you really don't have, all they're looking for is English speakers, because when they're trying to hire teachers, not in international schools, yes, you need a degree for that. But I was teaching at a program called Bushy Buns, which are considered to be after school programs. So after students are done with their primary education, then they go to like different Bushy Buns or different after school programs. And that's where they start to learn English as their second language. And so that's how I was hired at the time for about 3 to 4 years. But it wasn't really until I came to Dubai, which is around 2020, is when I actually got my foot in the door working in international schools or American curriculum schools. So Dubai is where I became a full-fledged teacher.
And so did you go to school in the United States, like growing up? Are you originally from America?
Yes. So I was born and raised, or halfway raised in the United States, but halfway in my life, especially around my later teens, my life was shifted to abroad. Once again, just like education, my abroad life chose me. I did not choose it. I always thought I would just be another type of American, born and raised, and just live my life. And actually, one of my main goals was going to Hollywood at the time, but it looks like life found another course for me. Halfway my life, I lived in, of course, India. I lived in Singapore. So India was my first abroad country. But so yes, India, Singapore, UAE, Taiwan, mainland China, you name it. So I'm no stranger living overseas.
Cool. So I think everybody that's watching, they're probably really curious about the differences in behavior from American school students versus abroad. And I've heard mixed reviews. I've talked to lots of teachers that say that the kids are angelic. And then I've heard a few teachers say, no, we kind of have the same problems, all over the world. So what has your experience been like with student behavior?
Well, I agree with you 100%. I think you could blame it maybe on technology, maybe because parents have to work over hours. I think this is more of an international situation, as you claim. Yes, so it's not just an American thing, it's a global thing. I've dealt with behavior situations when I was living in Taiwan, also mainland China. I was dealing with behavior issues even here in the UAE. But since we're primarily focusing on the UAE, I will just say that, yes, just like everywhere else, you will have students that are very angelic. Like you have, especially the Emirati students and other expat students, they're very respectful. They love to learn. They love to get their assignments done. And the parents really care about their grades too, which I've also noticed. However, yes, you also have to have, not have to have, but yes, you do have students that will, I'm not gonna say misbehave, but they will test you. I think that's the better term. You do have students, they love to test you. They know what they're doing. They're very clever with it. Um, and it does take time for them to respect you. It's just the way it is. But what I've also noticed here in the UAE is that if you respect their culture, again, to everybody out there, Dubai is a Muslim city, and Islam is very taken very seriously here, from all ages, from grade K all the way to adulthood. So Islam is very, very serious. So if you respect their culture, if you respect their beliefs, even if you respect their holidays, like for instance, if you say Ramadan Kareem, if you say Eid Mubarak, you will have a lot of respect. And if you even study a little bit of Arabic, like Kef Halak, Alhamdulillah, Zain, Wahid, Ithnain, like these languages or these vocabulary, your respect will go 5 times more. Just try to, like, especially when you arrive here in Dubai, try learning their culture. Yes, it's an international city. Everyone here speaks English, just like the United States. But at the same time, try to learn their culture and you'll see the respect will be a lot faster if you don't.
Very interesting. So I'm kind of curious about how school works in Dubai because, as you know, in the United States, we've got private school, public school, charter school. Some schools are really expensive. Some schools are the bottom of the tier. So is it like that in Dubai, or is there less disparity between schools? Like, how does all that work?
Oh, yes. So once again, just like the United States, even here in Dubai, you have institutions that are graded. Well, we have a branch called KHDA, which are like it's an inspection institution. They actually have inspectors going to different branches, and they will rate your school depending on their MAP scores or depending on behavior, depending on how they react to fire alarms and these other types of methods. Also, attendance is also very important. Like how many attendance are students attending to all classes? And what I've also noticed here is that after they rate your school, it's actually posted in the news, so everyone can see the rating of the school. So if your school is strong or it's highly rated, of course, the school will stand. But if the school is rated weak, I think for about maybe 3 to 4 years, then I'm not saying the school will be shut down. I don't know how the laws, the regulations are here, but let's just say it's not going to be very good for that school because it's public and it's on the news once a year. So that's very interesting. So one thing I notice about here, especially private schools, institutions are very serious because they really care about their ratings here.
So how does social media work in Dubai? Do kids seem as influenced by TikTok and Instagram, or is that not allowed? Like, how does all of that work?
The reason I'm laughing is because, yes, social media is very popular here in Dubai, especially TikTok. Like TikTok is nonstop. They know all the dances. They know all the celebrities. Like, let's just say, I'm not saying I'm getting old. Hopefully I'm not. But I'm just saying that the students keep you young by telling you what's the latest trends, what's the latest dances, what's the latest music, what's the latest movies, who are the latest celebrities on TikTok and Instagram. Yes, they know it well, especially amongst the middle school and high school students. But at the same time, I've noticed from the young learners, because I'm mostly a elementary teacher, what I notice from my elementary students, what they love the most are video games. So you need to know your video games very well. I don't know any of the names at all. I just pretend I do. I'll just research on Wikipedia, like, oh yeah, I know that. Yes, I know Pokemon. Yes, SpongeBob. Yes, I know these guys. They love cartoons as well. And yes, they do watch American cartoons here. They love American cartoons. Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, you name it. They love American movies. They know all the American video games. So when you come over here, it's like coming to, I don't know, Nevada or Arizona. It's like coming to another state in the U.S., just miles and miles away from the U.S.
Very interesting. So I think this might be a controversial question, and if you don't want to answer it, I can edit this out. But I'm curious, do you believe that an experience of a woman is different in Dubai than a man? Because most teachers are women, so they
I
probably kind of think about it.
Well, I'll tell you from my personal experience. I can't say from all other institutions because it depends on which they call it emirates here, which is like different city or location or states. But in different emirates, I think laws are a little bit stricter when it comes to women garments or fashion, like covering up the like the skin or the like covering your entire body. But Dubai is very liberal, and I've noticed from the two American schools I worked in, the female teachers, no, they can wear wherever they want. It's just that yes, they have to wear jeans or they have to wear pants, they have to wear long sleeves, but they don't have to cover up their face, they don't have to cover up the hair or anything like that. So yes, Dubai is very, very westernized. However, speaking about other Emirates, let's just say Sharjah is an Emirate. So to compare it, let's say Sacramento or sorry, San Francisco or to Los Angeles. If you go to Los Angeles or San Jose, these two cities might be ultimately different, even though they're right next door to each other. They might be ultimately different. For instance, Dubai and Sharjah are like 10 minutes away, but Sharjah has completely different regulations compared to Dubai. But if you come teach in Dubai, it's very westernized, very open, and I recommend all female teachers to come here. They'll enjoy it.
So, what are the actual schools like? What are the work hours like? Do you feel like you're observed a lot? Do you have curriculum freedom? How does all that work?
So the work hours is yes, it's about 8 to 9 hours, but UAE is different now. If you asked me this 2 years ago, it was a lot easier question. Dubai used to work 5 days a week. Now teachers are working 4 days and a half, and it might change to 4 days a week in the coming months. So that's one thing about living in Dubai. Things change very quickly depending on scenarios. But yes, you will work. We'll call it 9 to 5 job. Yes, it's still 8 hours. You'll still have the same amount of paperwork. Curriculum, the curriculum freedom depends on your rating or your evaluation. So yes, remember I told you before that inspection is like their primary goal. They want a high rating for their schools. So yes, you will be evaluated from an admin or from an HOD or head of department every once a week or every once a month, but it really depends on your skill of teaching. So especially from student there's the student opinion about you. So they'll always ask the students, okay, how do you feel about this teacher? Do you feel comfortable? Sometimes they'll ask the parents as well. So if the parents are giving you good reviews and the students are giving you good reviews, then the inspection will be less and you will have more curriculum freedom and you have more freedom of lesson planning as well. So just try your best when you're teaching here in Dubai. Really try your best to be engaging with your students. When I say engaging, I don't mean give your students whatever you want and don't discipline. No, if you discipline them, they will respect you. But at the same time, like I said, if you respect their culture, you know some knowledge about Dubai or about their background, you know a little bit of Arabic here and there. Like they see that you're trying to delve in their culture a bit, you're going to have a lot of respect. And once you get the respect from the students and the parents also, I've noticed in private schools, I think the same thing in USA, the parents are very, very well connected to the school. And they love to talk to the admin as well about all of their teachers. So if you get good ratings from the parents, trust me, you're going to have an excellent time at any school that you work at here.
Hmm. That's interesting. Maybe because I've been traumatized by private school experiences, that sounds like a nightmare to me. But maybe I'm shortchanging myself and how I would do. But the whole like having everything based on if parents and kids like you, I'm like, ooh, I don't think I'd like that too much. I don't know. Has that ever bitten you in any kind of way?
Is what's they call it is that if the more you adapt to new situations, the more you survive. So
Hmm.
I agree with you 100%. Yes, I like to come inside a class and I don't like being inspected either. But let's just say when you have teachers, like you have training I think like a month before. So you have like 3 to 4 weeks, especially new teachers. Like of course, they have an introduction. They talk about the city of Dubai. They talk about the regulations and how USA and Dubai, how are they different and what you should prepare for. So once they were telling me that you will be inspected a lot more, you will be evaluated a lot more, I said, okay, fine. I may not enjoy this in the beginning, but I have to pre-plan. I have to be very proactive. And I have to imagine what will happen. So proactivity is a skill set that you need to learn in Dubai. You have to be proactive. And yes, you have to learn how to adapt. So remember I said before, here in the UAE, it's a very rapid country, especially Dubai is a very rapid city. It's like New York. and regulations will change. So if something last minute happens, and this is where I think some teachers, they get overrun at time or get overwhelmed. They give up too easily. It's like, oh my gosh, this changed. Oh, this hour is less. Oh, this hour is more. Oh, we have an extra meeting tomorrow. They said we're not supposed to have a meeting. Oh, we got to come on this holiday, when stuff like that. And I've noticed that. I think that's like the main complaint I've been hearing. But so I'm just telling you now, what to prepare for is you have to learn how to adapt, get ready for change, and just go with the flow. So it's like being on a ship. It's going to get wavy. It not every day is going to be sun and sunshines and the ocean is flat. No, sometimes you have to deal with the wave. Pretend that you're captain of a ship. You just have to get ready with the storm. If you survive the storm, the sun will come back up. You have like 3 to 4 weeks of sunshine, and then the next storm will come. It's seasonal. It's just the way it is.
I actually love that analogy for teaching in general. That's a really good analogy. So I'm curious, what is the pay like? Is it better than how teachers are paid in the United States? And just for example, I don't know if you've looked for a while about how it is in the US, but you might have a starting pay in one state at $30,000 for a teacher, and then in another state it might be, $50,000. So what is that kind of like in Dubai?
Well, in the US, do they give you free accommodation or free transportation?
No, not at all.
So we have to look at, do they give you a housing allowance?
No.
Oh, so yeah, so the package here, I've heard from other teachers, is that if you come work in the UAE or even Saudi Arabia, some schools will pay for your flight to come here. Then they will pay for your accommodation and they will pay for your transportation going to and fro. But I have to look at the rating between the USD and the dirham currency rate. But there are certain teachers that get paid 15,000 dirhams a month. So if you divide it by 3, that's 5,000 USD. But there's no taxes as well in the UAE. So that's something else. There's no tax cuts. And like I said, transportation, accommodation is all invested in. Plus you have your flight. They give you, if you finish 1 year, they'll give you extra 5,000, 6,000 dirhams flight back to your home country. And if you finish your contract in full, they will pay for your ticket, a single flight. They'll pay for your ticket anywhere you want to go. So you have to look at the package rate. So yes, I think in USA, you will get paid more from a single salary. But as you claim that they do not give you housing allowance, free transportation, free flights. So you have to compare, it depends on the individual. What do they want more? Just the money in itself? Or they want, okay, maybe not the best salary compared to USA, but you have all these other benefits involved.
Well, if you get paid $5,000 a month in US dollars in Dubai, that's still double some teachers' salaries in the United States. So it sounds like they do pay better for sure.
But I also want to ask, does it depend on the state? Like if you teach at New York or California, you will get paid more, or Texas, you actually get paid more compared to the other states, or is it all?
Yeah, it's dramatically different. You could literally have one state where the starting salary is $28,000. Then you could go someplace like Massachusetts and maybe they're starting near $50,000 for a first year teacher. So it's totally different depending on the state. So what about students' academic work? In the United States, we're having a lot of trouble with getting students to turn in assignments, to study, to work hard. Do you ever run into that, or is it more baked into the culture to take academics seriously?
So the thing is that what I've realized, students here, one, I'll tell you about the subjects, which subject they really take the most. And one is English. Reading and writing is a subject that they really like to focus on in the American schools here. So if your background of your profession is English or literature, then this is the job for you. Science, a little bit, but math is also very important. Arithmetic, very important. They also have to get used to the apps as well, so they have to be tech savvy. So they have to know the app Seesaw, McGraw-Hill, Nearpod, quizzes, and handwriting too. Believe it or not, handwriting is also very important as well. Especially writing in cursive. I'm like, oh, okay, so cursive, writing in cursive here is also very looked high upon. Okay, I thought cursive was outdated, but it's not. It's not. So why not? So yes, English, reading and writing, you have to be really good at this because I think the inspectors, they're also looking forward to this. So that's why many schools are focusing on that. And homework is, okay, so I think I have the right way of saying this. The parents and the teachers will differ when it comes to homework. Parents wants their child to have less homework, but the admin wants to give the students more homework, so it prepares them for assessments and tests that happens every week. So you need to contact the parents. I do it on a daily basis. Most teachers do it on a weekly basis. I like to be very interactive with the parents because once, like I said, if you make the parents respect you as a teacher, they'll let you have all the freedom you want because they trust you. It's all about trust at the end of the day. But you really have to talk to the parents about the homework and the level of homework and why you should give it to them. Because if you just give the children homework and it's not finished or completed and you don't grade it in the way that the parents want them to get, then it's going to cause a little bit of a difference here and there. What I've also realized is grading. So you also have to be no parent does not want to see their child have a big F on their test, right? Or a 0 or a 50 or anything like that. So you have to, if you are going to fail the student, you have to do it in a clever way. You have to write like a comment and you have to send a message to the parent why my child did not get a good score on their report card or in their homework or in their assessment. Because if you don't, then again, there might be some argument or some debates here and there. So grading is also very important here in Dubai if you're going to work here.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. So you said you call parents every day, like each and every parent, to talk about homework?
Oh no, so what I mean is that we have a system called Alma, and we have all the parents' emails. So, and we also write newsletters to the parents. So we have to release weekly. Now, again, this is optional. This is coming from me individually, personally. Teachers don't have to do this. They only have to do it weekly. I do it on a daily basis because I just feel like the more I contact to the parents, and the parents like it, they enjoy it. Sometimes parents even told me like, "Oh, I see you, like you're always updating us every day. Like you don't have to do it, but we respect you. Thank you so much." And I've realized the more I did it, the parents trusted me more and more, and yeah, my job just got easier because again, it's all about trust. It's all about connection. But you don't have to do it. No, so I'm trying to use my words very carefully. Yeah.
So you're saying that you send like kind of what the normal teachers do is a weekly newsletter, but you're saying you kind of send like a daily newsletter to email, like through email. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes, and I send parents, like I send all the parents in my class the same email, but it's nothing too big. Just homework, also test assessments. Let's say maybe there's like an event that might be coming up, maybe a last minute holiday that's coming up, maybe the schedules have changed a bit, stuff like that.
Interesting. So how many students do you have total?
28 students.
Oh, that's a lot. And you said they're like elementary age?
Elementary age, yes. So 7 to
Wow.
8, 8 to 9. Yep, for 3 years. A lot of energy has to be used. Yes. A lot of energy and a lot of creativity. And yes, if you create it the right way, then and a lot of teamwork. So differentiation. In other words, putting students into groups. And I realize if you put students into groups, not necessarily with their friends, if you mix the high learners with the mid learners and the low learners, and there's a lot of student activities, I've noticed it's a lot easier to teach that amount of students.
So what would you say was your biggest surprise when you started teaching in Dubai? Was there anything that shocked you about anything once you started teaching in Dubai?
I think the only thing is, again, the religion is very important, and it doesn't have to necessarily be an Islamic school. It can be any school. It doesn't matter if it's British, Australian, German, American. Islam is important in all bases. So sometimes you will have students praying, they have like their own prayer time, even teachers as well. Like sometimes you will have teachers even praying in the classroom, like they put the mat on the ground and they pray in the classrooms, and you have to respect that. Number two is love of like nationalism. Like if a holiday is coming up, let's say the sheikh or the king's birthday or the leader of the country's birthday, everyone celebrates it. If it's the I think Prophet Muhammad's birthday, may peace be upon him, when it's his birthday, again, everyone celebrates it. And the kids are very, very, very passionate and very, very knowledgeable about the religion. Like students who are like 6 years old, 7 years old. But let's say when an Islamic holiday is coming up, they're very, very passionate about it. Sometimes they even tell me history, like their whole personality changes. Like if you teach them English, science, math, they're okay with it. But when an Islamic holiday comes, a whole different personality changes. Like they'll tell you the love and the passion of it. I'm like, wow, your vocabulary and your language and your ability of speaking has went 3 grades up. Why don't you talk like this every single day? But yes, I think that's the. I'm not gonna say shock, but it's more like a little bit of a surprise, and I can respect that at the end of the day.
What do you wish the public knew about teaching in general? It can be teaching in Dubai or just any of your teaching experiences that you've had. What do you just wish people understood about a teacher's job?
Well, I'll say this is that the teacher role has changed. So once again, if you are a teacher that thinks that you're gonna come in there as a drill sergeant and you're gonna be like Morgan Freeman from the movie Lean on Me or the kindergarten cop, you go in there and you're trying to act tough and you tell the students to sit down or to stand up and stuff like that, it's not going to happen in this day and age. No, yes, still be strict. Don't get me wrong, but and always put the rules and the images on the walls. That yes, so they can remember what your rules are every single day. Repetition is also something important as well. So if you want, so classroom management is very vital. So if you want a good classroom management, but just like repeat your rules every single morning, like safety rules, social rules, attendance rules, so they can be engaged with it. And they'll start respecting you more once you realize you take your rules very, very seriously. Number two, you attention span is very low as well, and anywhere around the world. So you have to learn how to use different tools. Mix your activity with online games. Let your students, walk around and work with their friends and the different partners. They cannot just sit down and just stare at a screen the whole hour. That's not going to happen. You cannot be a boring teacher. You have to be an edutainer. You have to educate and entertain. Watch your favorite comedians. Watch some cartoons. Pretend that you're a kid when you're 5 years old. Watch what they're watching. What video game are they talking about? I don't know. Go on YouTube. You don't have to play it, but just go on YouTube and just study it and see like, oh, is this what the video game is about? Or a lesson. And trust me, you're going to have fun. The respect is going to be there eventually. So the old model is gone. We have to adapt to it. We have to adapt that you have to be a half camp counselor and a mentor at the same time. It's very, very hard to master in the beginning. It is. But if you just keep working at it and keep training, keep on developing your personality, you'll get there.
Interesting. So I'm curious, what kind of consequences are available if students misbehave in Dubai? Is there detention? Is there in-school suspension? Anything like corporal punishment? How does all that work?
So yes, there is detention, but the detention is mostly for middle school and high school students, while with elementary students, it's just contacting the parents. Yes, there's also suspension as well. Like you said, if someone throws a chair, oh yes, you're going to be suspended. Like they do not play around with that at all. What I do in my class personally, this is what I do, and some teachers also follow the same model. I created a system called the 3X system. So yes, I'll give my students stars. I'll give them points. I'll give them awards. Sometimes I will email all the parents which students have won their star of the week or 1 star of the month or got the best score in their quizzes and tests. Absolutely, and the students love that. But some students, there are a few students in there that don't care. So I created an X system. So if they misbehave and if they have 3 X's, then I actually say, okay, fine, I'm going to share my report and I'm going to show it to your parents in front of you. You want that. And I've realized a lot of students, they really don't want to let their parents know if they're misbehaving or not in the class. So they really take that seriously here. So, and I've noticed at first the 3X system, even the parents are like, is the 3X system a little bit strict? But once they go home and they tell me, wow, my son has changed. My son is cleaning up his room because he said that he's worried about having an X if he doesn't clean his room in your classroom, and he won't get star of the week and he won't go outside and play and stuff like that. It's like, no. The 3X system's only in my classroom. It's not in his house. Please tell your son. And he's like, no, I'm not going to tell my son. No, it's working. He's cleaning up his room. It's like, okay, fine. Why not? But I will say this, you need to create a system that you have to take something away. They cannot play outside. They cannot watch a movie during lunch. They probably, I think the best one for me that really works is them writing 50 times. They really don't like writing their name. So like, for instance, if you ever watch the cartoon The Simpsons and you see Bart Simpson like in the intro writing his name on the chalkboard, I just give him a sheet of paper And I told them, if you don't finish this 50 times, you have to do this tomorrow and continue until you finish. You cannot play outside. You cannot eat lunch with your friends. You have to eat lunch by yourself, or you cannot watch this movie. You have to put your face in the wall until you get this done. And once that happens about 2 or 3 times, they're like, oh, okay, this teacher's not playing around. He's very serious with his rules. Okay, fine. And I've noticed is that, I don't know if this ever happened to you, Miss Trish, but has it ever happened to you where students, when they come to your class, they're very well behaved. Right? They act their best. But if you notice, if they go to another classroom or go to another teacher, they don't act the same way. Has it ever happened to you? Because that happened to me before. They come to my class, they're well behaved, they put on their best behavior. They go to another class with another teacher, then I hear different opinions about it.
Definitely.
Has that ever happened to you?
It's happened both ways. I'm thinking of one kid in particular, the kid that threw desks, and his homeroom teacher, she walked in to get something out of my class one day, and this kid, the desk thrower, was behaving like a perfect angel and doing group work, smiling, participating, and she just stopped and she's like, how come he doesn't do that for me? And I'm like, I don't know. But it's been differently before too, where I was the one where I was like, I don't know, little Marquita won't stop talking to my class, but they love the math teacher. So it can go either way.
Oh, I understand.
So if you had a magic wand and could change anything in education, what would you change?
I'll have to pretend I'm Harry Potter for this one. What would Dumbledore do? Let's see. I think he would choose classroom management. Like, if you go in there and it's like, yes, like, Wibbity Zoodah or Abracadabra, and you flash it, then they're like, all the students, their books are open, the desks are clean, the bags are in the locker, their book compartments are clean. One of my students is helping to clean up my desk. Oh, that's nice. One of them was nice enough to write, hello, teacher Aurelius on the whiteboard. Oh, that's so sweet. Someone put like a red apple on my desk. Oh, like the old school days. Like, oh, that's so nice. And they all say, oh, hello, teacher Aurelius. I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. All right. And you just walk inside and then you start your class. So classroom management is the best one. Everyone getting along. So to me, it's classroom management. That's what it is. Like, my students are well disciplined. They're respecting each other. They respect me as a teacher. I love that respect. I think that's the best one, is respecting teacher and respecting each other.
Awesome. So my last question will be, do you enjoy teaching overall, and do you see yourself in the teaching profession long term?
Very good question. So I'll say this, teaching has made me tougher. Teaching has also taught me a lot, how to prepare, how to plan, how to adapt. And I think the best one of all is how to grow a little bit of thick skin as well. I think that's something else I have to bring that up. Thick skin is that you have to learn how to put a smile on your face. Even if you don't want to, like if you want to, but you can't, you have to keep it professional and you have to keep it going. So teaching has really taught me a lot about that. But yes, I would say the only thing about teaching I wish that will return is discipline. And I know I've been using that word a lot, but I think that word is lacking, and I hope it will come back. Will I see myself being a teacher in the next 5 or 6 years? I really don't know, because the future is unpredictable, but I am trying to get into the media field. I've done education for nearly a decade, and I think it's time for me to do a career change, and hopefully media will be more of a permanent job.
Awesome. Well, where can we find you online in case anybody wants to ask you more questions about teaching in Dubai?
So yes, you can follow me at Amax with the Facts, like you see here on the tagline. You can follow Amax with the Facts on YouTube, Amax with the Facts on Instagram, or you can email me at amaxwiththefacts@gmail.com. If you want to ask me any more questions, or if you want to subscribe to my channel or follow, go ahead and give a lot of support. I love it. And yeah, I would love to answer your questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this interview past 9 p.m. where you are. And thank you for helping me brave the technological glitches here and there. And we really appreciate your time. And audience, if you have any questions, ask them in the comment box, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now, everyone.
Cheers.